This is Religious Quest documentary from CBS Media Films Africa.
Sodom and Gomorrah, the legendary cities of sin, destroyed by God in a hail of fire and brimstone. One of the most terrifying and apocalyptic chapters of the Bible. For many, the so-called cities of the plain never existed. The story is mere fiction.
Sodom and Gomorrah fits into, I would say, the legendary aspect, if not mythological.
But for archaeologist and explorer Dr. Stephen Collins, the famous Bible story has its roots in reality. It's based on a very real catastrophic event that occurred in the ancient Near East over 3,000 years ago.
That civilization is snuffed out, and so we have an event that was scared people to death.
This is a story about ancient skeletons from the Holy Land and the true meaning of the Bible's fire and brimstone.
An equivalent energy to a very large nuclear weapon, almost the largest nuclear weapon that was ever tested.
Collins is convinced he's found the ancient ruins of an unearthly cataclysm. Are they the legendary cities of Sodom and Gomorrah? As a child, growing up in a Christian home, Stephen Collins is no stranger to the stories in the book of Genesis. He attends a church in New Mexico, where his father is a deacon and Sunday school teacher. But his first port of call isn't the Bible. From an early age, Collins is an avid student of Darwinism and the theory of evolution.
As a young child, I didn't pay any more attention to the Bible than most kids, so I just sort of ignored it. Early on in grade school, I was really enamored with evolution of the human race. So I was very taken with all of that, and I studied it.
By the time he finishes college, Collins decides to major in anthropology and linguistics. But his studies soon collide with his homegrown faith.
I was being challenged. My faith was always being challenged from outside, particularly studying anthropology in college.
But Collins is convinced science and the Bible can coexist. And the mission to unite the two would spark a quest for answers on the truth of the Bible.
So that really forced me to go to the text and start really thinking seriously about how the biblical texts are to be understood. Are they mythical? Are they symbolic? Are they legendary in some way? Or are they factual?
Collins's quest would take him to the heart of one of the most terrifying and apocalyptic events in the Bible. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The Bible tells of 5 cities of the plain, each ruled by their own king and located in a fertile area south of the land of Canaan. The most infamous of these cities is Sodom, a cauldron of sin and vice.
The evil things that they are doing motivates this deity, Yahweh, to act in a way to try and eradicate that evil.
For their wickedness, God unleashes his wrath upon Sodom and its satellite cities. Fire rains down from the sky, destroying every living thing in a blazing inferno. Entire populations are wiped off the face of the planet in an instant. Only Abraham's nephew Lot and his family escape the chaos and flee to safety. Angels warn them not to look back. But Lot's wife ignores their advice and is turned into a pillar of salt. It's an incredible story. So incredible that for many, Sodom and Gomorrah is no more than a morality tale.
The Bible writers obviously were interested in a story which basically said, look, if you do the wrong thing, you're going to get into trouble.
But for some, the legend is based on a real place. Outside the Bible, the only lead comes from ancient Rome. Strabo, a Roman geographer writing in the 1st century AD, places Sodom and the cities of the plain on the shore of the Dead Sea. Collins learns that in 1973, a search in the southwest region of the Dead Sea unearths evidence of ancient settlements. Excavations reveal a cluster of 5 sites that seem to match the biblical description of the 5 cities of the plain. All 5 cities were destroyed in the Bronze Age, around 2300 BC. That's the middle of the 3rd millennium BC, when most scholars suppose Abraham may have lived. But even more extraordinary is that they were all destroyed by a cataclysmic fire. The largest of the 5 cities are Barbedra and Numera. For many enthusiasts, they become the most likely contenders for the legendary cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. By 1996, Collins is an expert in theology, archaeology, and ancient scripture, and he supports Barbedra and Numera as Sodom and Gomorrah. In fact, he travels to the Holy Land to shout it from the rooftops.
And I didn't see any reason not to accept Barbedra and Numera as Sodom and Gomorrah. It seemed to work, seemed to fit. I did a lot of tours. Took a lot of people to Barbedra and Numera.
But suddenly, all that was to change. In his hotel room one night, Collins is troubled by a discrepancy between the geography in the Bible and in modern archaeology. The Bible has Abraham and his nephew Lot in the north of the Jordan Valley, somewhere between Bethel and Ai. From there, they can clearly see the plain of Jordan. That would put Sodom and Gomorrah 20 miles away, at most. But Collins knows that mainstream thinking has Sodom at the very southern tip of the Dead Sea, at least 50 miles away. Abraham and Lot couldn't have seen that far, even with binoculars.